If you damage a child, you do irreparable harm, not just in the present, but for the rest of his life. And I know firsthand, unfortunately, because of my own experience of childhood. Have you noticed no one's really talking about the kids, the children, boys and girls who have been the real victims of the Democrats and the deep state? Only President Trump and his inner circle of DHS, Tom Homan and the like, they're the ones who seem to care. A few weeks ago, you remember that President Trump was like, hey, did you hear we've found 11,000 children who've been smuggled into America across the border? He cares. Not only do the media never really talk about this, unsurprising, not only do the Dems never mention any of this because they like and protect child abuse, but weirdly enough, even the establishment GOP Republicans, they seem rather unconcerned about it as well. Yet this is the most pressing concern. What about the kids? Tens and thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands being sexually abused, trafficked, some of them probably killed. They're turned into sex slaves for perverts, and they're just forgotten about. Their psyches are forever damaged, their bodies broken, and yet no one seems to give a shite about any of this. If you damage a child, you do irreparable harm, not just in the present, but for the rest of his life. And I know firsthand, unfortunately, because of my own experience of childhood. The brain of a child is not yet formed physically sufficiently to be able to process this kind of pain, so it does what it needs to do to simply survive in the moment. And then often that means distorting reality because the reality is just too horrible to face. At first, escaping that reality is a good thing. The boy lives to fight another day, so to speak. But the problem is that escaping becomes the norm, even after it's no longer needed, because the literal hardwiring that the organ in your skull undergoes, it locks that hardwiring in place. This is what the field of neuroscience is leaning into and is teaching us. The younger the age and the more frequent the abuse, the harder it is to escape as an adult. So what happens? They turn to, porn or drugs or sex or alcohol or whatever it is, anything to push out that pain. Now, multiply this reality over the lives of hundreds of thousands of children that way too few give any kind of crap about. So at this point, so at this point of the political cycle, all I can say is thank you, President Trump, for caring enough to put people in place in groups like the ICE agents and the Border Patrol and Homeland Security who track down the monsters who do this to children. And for them, even the death penalty is too good. Coming to you from Houston, Texas, I'm Gary Michael Boris. God love you.